So my family and I are currently on a 12-month trip around the globe, and we are into month 5. So far we have seen 7 beautiful countries, and we are tracking perfectly on budget, so I feel confident to show you exactly how much it costs to travel the world as a family of 3 for 12 months. What's up guys, welcome back to our channel. Thank you so much for joining in today. I'm going to jump straight into it and not leave you waiting for the big old number. So big number, how much does it cost to travel the world? For us it is 65,000 New Zealand dollars. Might be a lot to you, it might be a little bit to you. To us, we're happy with that. That's not so bad. Now that 65,000, we're not working while we're traveling overseas. That is purely just money that was saved purposely for this trip, and we're happy to be spending it. So let's break down how that 65,000 is working out. Starting with our biggest travel expense, which is our accommodation. And for our accommodation, we have a budget of 25,550 New Zealand dollars, which works out to about $70 per night. And we are finding that that has been perfectly fine. In some countries, it's been slightly over, but then in other countries, it's been way under, so it's really balanced itself out. We're finding that that number is really spot on for us. Our next account is our travel account, so planes, trains, buses, Ubers, taxis, whatever we need to be using, and in that account we have 13,000 New Zealand dollars, and again that's working out pretty good. We are having to kind of be a little bit smarter about how we're moving around. We are traveling very slowly. We're not quick. The quicker you move, obviously the higher that part of your budget is going to have to be, but we're moving pretty slowly, so 13,000 New Zealand dollars is working out fine. Next is our big activities, so things like when we did the Colosseum, we did Rainbow Mountain, Machu Picchu, Disneyland's coming up, things like that. So for that account we have 6,000 New Zealand dollars, and again that's working out really well because we're not, in every country we go to, it's like we're not doing crazy stuff everywhere we go. Every once in a while we're doing something a little bit bigger and a little bit more fun, just so that we keep that budget lower and we're able to travel for longer. And then the final chunk of that is our weekly spend, so how we're just living week to week, and that budget is, sorry, just check my notes, 20,800 New Zealand dollars. So that works out at 400 New Zealand dollars per week, which has been really cushy actually. Some weeks we're under, some weeks we're a little bit over, so it's balancing out again, just like our accommodation. We're finding that wherever we've been, about 160 New Zealand dollars has been perfect for groceries for the week. And then we eat out once a week, we get some coffees, we do little activities that might cost a little bit, and that is keeping us going perfectly. So 400 New Zealand dollars per week. So one thing I did want to discuss, and this is personal, it'll depend on your circumstances and our circumstances, but there was extra costs that we had to pay for prior to our trip, and it will change varying what you need before you leave. So for us, there was another kind of chunk of expenses that aren't included in that 65,000. So let's run through them. Sorry if I'm looking down, I've got my notes. I can't remember this off the top of my head. So the first thing we had to pay for was insurance, and boy that hurt so much, but I'm glad we have it just in case anything goes wrong. But that number was $3,967.49 to cover our travel insurance. Lord, please don't ever let us have to use it, but if we've got it, like if we need to, we've got it, so it hurts, but you know, it's worth it. The next thing we had to think about was a storage unit. So when we left, we packed all of our belongings and popped it all in a storage unit, and that is costing us about $2,300 for the year, which isn't really bad if you break that down per month. We're happy with that cost. The next thing we had to consider with our dogs, we've got 2 beautiful dogs back home, and they are staying with family at a farm, so they're happy as Larry. Super happy. I miss them, honestly. I can't even think about them sometimes because I'll cry. But it cost us just over $2,000 to feed them for the year. So you kind of got to take into consideration, if you've got pets, they've got to be fed, and you can't expect other family members to pay for that. So we handed over $2,000 to a family member, and they're looking after the cost of feeding our dogs while we are away. And then the last category that we have, that again, so personal depending on what you have, what you don't have, is our like subscriptions that we have to pay for every month. So for us, that's things like we've got Spotify still, we've got Netflix, UFC, we've got insurance on our cars back home, we've got like my editing software that we pay for. So stuff like that we had to consider, and we had to make sure we had the right amount for that, and that is costing $2,200. So altogether that cost comes to $10,557.49. So that was cost that we had to consider prior to leaving and prior to spending that 65,000. So that puts it just over 75,000 altogether. So that is the nitty-gritty of how much it truly costs for a family of 3 to travel the world for 12 months. Is it more than you thought, less than you thought? Leave a comment down below. I'd love to know about it. But that is it from us today. I'm so glad that you joined in. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
What did happen to the last 10? I ran away with my life, fast forward, never turn back again.